Welcome back to Underrated Anime, a series on this channel that I've put on hold for quite a while. If anyone here is new, or just needs a refresher, this series is simply to bring awareness to anime I didn't think get the attention they deserved, or were maybe forgotten about over time. I'm excited to bring you all today an anime that I wish we could get more of. That anime is none other than Shadows House. Shadows House, originally a manga, was such a unique and fantastic experience when I watched it back in 2021. Since then, there hasn't been anything that's come close to resembling it to any degree, which really goes to show the strength of Shadows House's originality. I can't wait to get started, so enough rambling, let's get to why you should watch Shadows House. Let's start by discussing the premise of Shadows House. There is a family that lives up in the mountains, somewhat removed from other humans, simply referred to as the Shadows, and the name is quite literal. The Shadows family are nobility, and are a family of people that are pitch black in nature, and they have a tendency to emit soot when they are agitated, stressed, or feeling any kind of negative emotion. Once a shadow becomes of age, they are assigned a living doll. A living doll acts as both an attendant to their shadow master, as well as their literal face. Since the shadows are, well, shadows, they don't have any features to speak of. The living doll is required to know and understand their master perfectly so that they can accurately mirror their body language and assume a proper facial expression based on what their masters are saying when communicating with others. However, when it comes to the living dolls, there is one thing above all else that they must abide by, and that one rule is, do not fret over trivial matters. As for the main cast, there is two characters in particular that Shadows House primarily focuses on, Kate and Emilico. Kate is a rather refined individual that's quite calm and intelligent. She's good at maintaining her composure in most cases, but makes it rather obvious when she's displeased. The soot she emits happens to float straight up, which is a rather unique characteristic among the members of the Shadows family. Emilico serves as Kate's living doll and has a job as a maid in the Shadows mansion, as well as being the anime's true protagonist and main source of cuteness. She's a very positive and very curious individual. Despite being a bit clumsy most of the time, Emilico is hardworking and dependable. She enjoys making friends and is known to stand up for the ones she cares about if they ever get into any sort of trouble. The relationship that Kate and Emilico have with each other is also rather unique. In most cases, the living dolls aren't exactly supposed to have personalities of their own, and instead are to basically become a flawless extension of their masters. That's not really the case for Kate and Emilico. Kate encourages Emilico to have her own personality and to care for herself and her own well-being before caring about others. Even more odd about the pair are their names. Because living dolls are supposed to be an extension of their masters, this often leads to their names being similar, almost like a namesake. We can see this when naming off some of the other characters like John and Sean, Louise and Lou, Patrick and Ricky. This does lead to some issues when interacting with some of the other masters. Kate, and especially Emilico, get bullied for their unique dynamic, and others will often turn their noses up at Emilico because of her individuality. Emilico is essentially a failure of a living doll in their eyes. The other characters in the anime are full of unique and colorful personalities as well. It would take way too much time to go through them all individually, seeing as there's a handful of characters in the secondary cast, but I can give you a quick summary of their role here. They all help to develop both Kate and Emilico as characters, as well as serving a greater purpose in the grand scheme of things. The secondary cast aren't there to solely advance the plot and do have quite the focus in the anime. They have their fair share of screen time and had a good amount of TLC to make them just as interesting as Kate and Emilico, and to make their own character development worthwhile. What intrigues me most about the plot of Shadows House is the mystery of it all. As mentioned previously, Kate is intelligent. As good as it is to just go with whatever the higher-ups in Shadows House say, it sometimes doesn't feel right to do so, and Kate tends to question things. The more Kate and Emilico, and by extension us the viewers, learn, the more questions we ask. The more answers we get, some more questions arise. It's done so in a way that keeps you on your toes and doesn't feel like lazy or bad writing. The story of Shadows House has a lot of moving parts to it, so it's no surprise that one answer leads to another question, but the answer still feels like a definitive end to whatever trail the protagonists have been chasing. There's a lot of little things here and there in terms of visuals, as well as some bigger things shown from time to time that help add to the mystery of Shadows House. For example, one thing is that the clock seems to be mirrored. Why is that? One of the opening scenes of the anime shows a group of children drinking what appears to be coffee before pledging their loyalty to the Shadows House and their respective masters. What is the point of this ritual or tradition? There's other things like the phantoms, creatures that appear when soot accumulates and isn't taken care of, or that being exposed to copious amounts of soot can lead to soot sickness, that don't appear to have immediate answers. Most importantly, who or what are the shadows and why do they exist? It's up to Kate and Emilico to do a deep dive into the Shadows house and the Shadows family to get their answers. Shadows house has a great deal of visual appeal. I'm absolutely in love with the gothic-inspired, Victorian-esque aesthetic that Shadows house has going for it. There's something about the attire and architecture that really draws me in. I can't really explain it though. The aesthetic simply gets the dopamine in my brain going. There's also the matching OST that's the cherry on top to the aesthetic, and it really ties everything together nicely. A lot of care was taken into the art and music direction for Shadows house. Overall, the production value of this anime is actually pretty good. This anime adaptation was done by none other than Cloverworks. Cloverworks has a decent track record regarding their adaptations. They were responsible for Bocchi the Rock, Horimiya, and Bunny Girl Senpai, among others, so I'd argue that they're pretty reputable. Most of the time. Cloverworks' anime adaptations are almost always visually stunning and well animated, and while Shadows house didn't get as much love from them compared to anime like Bocchi and My Dress Up Darling, but there was still an adequate amount of care poured into this anime that still puts it up there alongside the top tier productions, as well as being one of my all-time favorite productions from Cloverworks. To give Shadows house some bonus points, Riona and Claris provided their musical talents for some of the music in the anime. Riona sung the Season 1 ending song and Season 2 opening song, and Claris sang the Season 2 ending song. All in all, Shadows house is a great, one-of-a-kind anime that I think belongs on everybody's watch lists. With a balance of cuteness with an air of mystery, it provides an interesting story that gives you something to think about and theorize over. Pretty much everything you see matters to some extent and should be thought about if you enjoy analyzing the shows you watch. If you do plan on watching Shadows house, there are 2 seasons available for you to watch for a total of 25 episodes. However, we have not received any news about a 3rd season, which is quite unfortunate. There's still so much to the story that the anime adaptation hasn't touched on yet, and I would like to see more of the mysteries of the Shadows house unfold. I won't exactly be holding my breath for more installments of the anime, but hopefully Cloverworks will satiate my hunger in the future. That wraps it up for Shadows house. I genuinely hope that any of you watching will go and give this anime a watch. If you decide that you want to go ahead and watch it, report back to me. I would love to hear your thoughts about this fantastic anime, and I hope that you end up loving it as much as I did. That's all for now, so until next time, see ya.